Dear friends, today I will discuss part B of paper 2 patent agent examination 2018. Okay, so as this is shown, you can take a look here, friends. Okay, so part B contains actually 3 questions, and each question carries 10 marks. Okay, so this part is for 30 marks as a whole. Fine. So question number 5 is, explain briefly the different provisions of the Patent Act for the following. A. Role of a patent agent. B. Criteria for disqualification of patent agent. Fine. So actually for this question I have prepared an answer in my note. Just a minute. Yeah, just take a look. So the question I have already read in the question paper. So I will just or again I am reading the question as well for your understanding. Okay, so question number 5 is, explain briefly the different provisions of the Patent Act for the following. That is, A is role of a patent agent, B is criteria for disqualification of a patent agent. Fine. So the answer is for bit A, role of a patent agent. Okay, so for this we can refer section 127 and section 128 of the Patent Act for this question. Okay, so the title of section 127 is rights for patent agents, and the title of section 128 is subscription and verification of certain documents by patent agents. Fine. Okay, and now we will discuss it in detail. A registered patent agent shall be entitled, bit 1, to practice before the controller, and bit 2, to prepare all documents, transact all business and discharge such other functions as may be prescribed in connection with any proceeding before the controller under this act. Okay, all applications and communications to the controller under this act may be signed by a patent agent authorized in writing in this behalf by the person concerned. So when you will refer these two sections, that is section 127 and 128, you can write down the role of a patent agent like this. Fine. Next we will go to bit B. B is criteria for disqualification of patent agent. Okay, and for this we can refer rule 114 to answer this question. So what is the title of rule 114 is disqualifications for registration as a patent agent. So number 1, if the person is adjudged by a competent court to be of unsound mind, that means we can say insane, or that his mind or brain is not properly working. Fine. Next one is, if he or she is an undischarged insolvent. Fine. Number 3 is, if being a discharged insolvent has not yet received a certificate from the court that unfortunately he was titled as an insolvent, although he or she is without any misconducts. That means he or she is actually not an insolvent. Okay, and has been already discharged. Fine, but still he or she has to receive a certificate from the court proving the same. Fine, that he or she was misfortunate or unfortunate to be indulged like that, like this. Fine. So that means for his we can say for his innocence, for his we can say he has to produce a certificate from the court that he was titled unfortunately as an insolvent, but he was not actually that. Fine. Next one is 4. If he or she has been convicted by a competent court within or outside India for an offence to undergo a term of imprisonment. That means if he or she is in any way convicted inside India or outside India to undergo a term of imprisonment, then also he can be disqualified. Fine. So these are the 4 situations for the disqualification of a patent agent. We can say there is an exception, that the conviction was pardoned or the disability was removed by the central government on an application given by him. That means if there is a case where the conviction was pardoned and his or her disability was removed by the central government, then at that case this cannot be a situation for disqualification of a patent agent. That means he or she has already got a clean chit by the central government. Fine. Okay. Number 5. If he is found with professional misconduct, although a legal practitioner, that means although he or she is a legal practitioner, but he has a professional misconduct, then also he is disqualified. Next one is, if he is a chartered accountant and is guilty of negligence or misconduct. That means if the person is a chartered accountant but he is guilty of negligence or any kind of misconduct, fine, then also he is disqualified. So this way friends, we can say question number 5 is completed. Fine. For question number 6, we can read the question. Just a minute. Yeah. Question number 6 is, explain the various provisions in the prevailing patent rules for expedited examination, small entity and startup. That means please explain all these 3. One is expedited examination, one is small entity and one is startup. Fine. For this what we will do, we will go to the question as mentioned in the question paper. Here also I have written like, explain all various provisions in the prevailing patent rules for expedited examination, small entity and startup. Fine. So what is expedited examination? This is, we can refer Rule 24C. Point number 1. Application for expedited examination is filed in Form 18A with prescribed fees as per the first schedule only by electronic transmission within the period prescribed in Rule 24B on any of the following grounds. So what are the grounds? Bete, India has been indicated as the competent ISA or elected as an IPEA in the corresponding international application, or bit B, the applicant is a startup. Okay, that means for these 2 cases expedited examination can be possible. Okay. Next one is number 2. Okay. A request for examination, or we can in short form we can say RFE, with the payment of fees and documents, that means the prescribed fees and documents, it can be converted to RFE, that is request for expedited examination. The full form of RFE is request for expedited examination, and this is as for, or we can say this is under Rule 24 sub Rule 1. Fine. Okay. Next one. 3. A RFE shall be accompanied by a request for publication under Rule 24A. Just remember these things friends. Okay. Exception. Application already been published under section 11A2 or a request for publication under Rule 24A has already been filed. Fine. Next one is, where RFE does not comply with the requirements of this rule, such a request shall be processed as per the provisions contained in Rule 24B with an intimation to the applicant and shall be deemed to have been filed on the date on which the RFE was filed. Fine. Next one is, controller gives the RFE along with the application specification and other documents to the examiner. So we can say, provided that a RFE under this rule filed by a startup shall not be questioned merely on the ground that the startup ceased to be a startup after having filed an application for patent due to lapse of more than 5 years from the date of its incorporation or registration, or the turnover subsequently crossed the financial threshold limit as defined. These are the 3 reasons given here. Fine. Number 6. Examiner within 1 month ordinarily and not exceeding 2 months from the date of reference of the application to him by the controller. This is gives the report, and this is as for the report is as per section 12 subsection 2. Fine. Number 7. Controller disposes the report of the examiner within 1 month from the date of receipt of such report by the controller. Fine. Number 8. Controller gives a first statement of objections with other documents within 15 days from the report disposal date. And what it does? The controller gives these statements etc. within 15 days to the applicant or his authorized agent. Fine. Number 9. Reply to the first statement of objections etc. with respect to RFE application was filed shall be processed in the order in which such reply for such application is achieved. Fine. Next one. Number 10. First statement of objections issued to the applicant within 6 months, putting an application in order for grant under section 21. Fine. The time specified in rule 24C10 can be extended to a further period of 3 months by form 4 with a relevant fee made to the controller before the expiry of the period specified in 24C10. Okay. Next one is number 12. Controller disposes, okay, within 3 months from the date of receipt of last reply to the first statement of objections, or from the last date to put the application in order for grant under section 21 of the act, whichever is earlier. So this time limit is not applicable for pre-grant opposition. Just remember this. Right? Next is 13. The controller may limit the number of RFE, that is request for expedited examination, to be received in the year by a notice to be published in the official journal. Okay. Okay, fine. So this way question number 6, one part of question number 6 is completed. We will go to the second part, that is small entity. Okay, so as per the patents rules 2003, whose title is definitions, rule 2 has the title of definitions. So rule 2 sub rule FA, or we can say rule 2 FA. Small entity means, number 1, in case of an enterprise engaged in the manufacture or production of goods, an enterprise where the investment in plant and machinery does not exceed the limit specified for a medium enterprise under section 7 subsection 1 clause A of the MSME Development Act 2006. And bit number 2, in case of an enterprise engaged in providing or rendering of services, an enterprise where the investment in equipment is not more than the limit specified for medium enterprises under section 7 subsection 1 clause B of the MSME Development Act 2006. Fine. Now Just remember this, just observe these underlined words, you will get it. Fine. Now, note, enterprise means an industrial undertaking or a business concern or any other establishment engaged in production of goods pertaining to any industry as per the first schedule of the Industries Development and Regulation Act 1951, etc. Also, investment in plant and machinery includes cost of pollution control, R&D, industrial safety devices, etc. And these are specified by notification under MSME Development Act 2006 shall be excluded. Fine. The reference rates of foreign currency of the RBI shall prevail. The reference rates of okay, fine. Just a minute. Next we will go to startup. Okay, as per the Patents Rules 2003, Rule 2FB, startup means an entity where, number 1, more than 5 years have not lapsed from the date of its incorporation or registration. Point number 2, the turnover for any of the financial years out of the aforesaid 5 years did not exceed 25 crore rupees. Yes. And number 3, it is working towards innovation, development, deployment and commercialization of new products, processes or services driven by technology or IP, provided that any such entity found by splitting up or reconstruction of a business already in existence shall not be considered as a startup. Just observe the underlined words. Next one is, further provided that the mere act of developing A, products or services or processes which do not have potential for commercialization, or B, undifferentiated products or services or processes, or number 3, products or services or processes with no or limited incremental value for customers or workflow would not be covered under this definition. Fine. An entity shall cease to be a startup on completion of 5 years from the date of its incorporation, or if it is turnover for any previous year, or we can say if its turnover for any previous year exceeds 25 crore rupees. Fine. Next one is, entity is a private limited company as per the Companies Act 2013, or a registered partnership firm registered under section 59 of the Partnership Act 1932, or a LLP under the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2002. Fine. Turnover shall have the same meaning as defined in the Campus Act 2013. An entity is defined to be working towards innovation, development, deployment or commercialization of new products, processes or services driven by technology or IP if it aims to develop and commercialize a new product or service or process, or a significantly improved existing product or service or process that will create or add value for customers or workflow. Fine. So words and expressions used but not defined in the rules shall have the meanings respectively assigned to them in the act. So fine, we can say for a note, changes are found in different patent rules, because we know after 2016 there are so many amendments till the date. Fine. So we can say changes are found in different patent rules. Fine. So this way question number 6 is also completed. So we will go to question number, just a minute, we'll go to question number 7. Okay. And friends, this is a very lengthy question. Okay. If you want, I can read it. I will show you the question here. See. Mr. Datta, a research scholar of an Indian university, invented one watch which acts as an alarm for senior citizens and patients to respective call centers of registered hospitals for emergency report. In the meantime, Mr. Datta has approached central government to approve a financial grant for his invention and had a discussion with concerned official of the said department. Mr. Datta exhibited his invention in industrial fair organized by government in Pragati Maidan, Delhi on 15th Feb 2015. One of the colleague in the same laboratory published his invention in leading newspaper on 2nd March 2015. Whether his 2015 without his consent. Meanwhile, he has attended one awareness program on patent in Delhi on 5th March 2015. Immediately on 10th March 2015, he has filed a provisional specification before the patent office Delhi and subsequently filed complete specification on 10th December 2015. Mr. Datta is not sure. Mr. Datta is not sure whether the exhibition and publication in newspaper or communication with government official would hamper the patent protection or not. So he seeks your advice. Give the appropriate advice in writing to your client as a practicing patent agent, quoting the relevant sections of Patent Act 1970. Okay. So, lengthy question, friends. We can say by looking at this type of lengthy questions, our confidence lowers down, gets lower, right? But what happens when we read and analyze this type of questions, believe me friends, these are the most easiest questions. Fine. So what I have done here in question number 7, just take a look. I have just underlined the keywords here. Okay. Then what I did, I recollected in my mind that what sections can be applied here. So section 29, 30 and 31 came into my mind. Okay, so we will refer that. And next, how I have analyzed, just take a look. What I have done, I have just made a table of one column for date and one column for incident. Okay, so date 15th Feb 2015, Mr. Datta showed his inventions in an exhibition conducted by government. Next, 2nd March 2015, Mr. Datta's colleague published in a newspaper without Mr. Datta's consent. Number 3, 5th March 2015, Mr. Datta at this date attended a program on patent. Okay. Then 10th March 2015, Mr. Datta filed provisional specification. Then on 10th October 2015, Mr. Datta filed complete specification. So this much of incidents have been, we can say the incidents happened on this particular dates. Okay. So here what I will do, I will just proceed through. Incident on 15th February 2015 indicates or refers to section 31A. Title of section 31 is anticipation by public display, etc. Okay, so we can say an invention claimed in a complete specification shall not be deemed to have been anticipated by reason only of A. The display of the invention with the consent of the true and first inventor or a person deriving title from him at an industrial or other exhibition to which the provisions of this section have been extended by the central government by notification in the official gazette or the use thereof with his consent for the purpose of such an exhibition in the place where it is held. Next one is section 29, anticipation by previous publication. Section 30 is anticipation by previous communication to government. Okay, so section 30 we can say when Mr. Datta approves central government to approve for a financial grant. This happened. Okay. Next we can say here for the first date, that is 15th Feb 2015, the patent protection is not anticipated. That means section 31A. Okay. Next one is the patent protection is not anticipated as per section 29 subsection 2A. Fine. So as per sections 29, 30, 31, the steps taken by Mr. Datta will not hamper the patent protection proceedings in any way. Okay. So this way friends, if we have a clear idea of the sections, then by reading the question itself, it will strike into our mind that yeah, this section is applied here. And then what we do, we analyze the question and try to write down the answer. Believe me friends, the longest questions carry the most easiest answers. This is the rule. Fine. So just go through my videos, share the video among your friends, and please click a like friends. It actually matters a lot to me if I see a like there. And yeah, I think I have tried my best to give you the solution for this part B. So yeah, your compliments, your comments are most welcome in my comment section. Okay, so keep interacting, keep learning. Please subscribe my channel friends, please subscribe it, and please press the bell icon so that whenever I upload a video here, it will be notified to you. Okay, so okay, thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for watching my video. Okay, God bless you. Stay safe, stay blessed.